Okay. Yeah. Can you tell me what is the closure in JavaScript?
Okay, so closure. So basically, when we have when we are having any particular function, right? So for that function, if we are having some variable something, so the variable will be having a particular scope, right? And even though that function, if the function is being returned or it's like executed, and we are able to access the variable of that function after even that, so that is called the concept of closure in that case. So basically, if we have a function, inside that function we have some variable x, and then we are returning another function, and in that function we are using that x. So basically we are using x from the lexial scope, like from the parent of that component. So we can use it. So it's like concept we called a closure.
Okay. So what is the benefit of closure?
Right. So the one thing which I said, like we can use the variable after even though that particular function is being returned, and that like it also reduces the reusable code. Means we can use a particular code again and again. So like reusability we can increase, maintainability we can increase, and like let's say I want to create a counter, right? So if I want to by every time I'm calling that function, so that counter will increase by 1. So we can create a function in one place, and then inside that we will be returning that whatever the increasing by 1, a particular variable by increasing by 1, that function will return, right? Using that we can create a function which will use a concept of closure, and then in the later stage whenever we want to increase a count, so we'll directly call that function. We don't have to execute the upper part. We don't have to increase the memory using the creating new variable.
Okay. So do you know what is memorization in JavaScript?
Memorization. So basically, we use some storage, or we use some we use some kind of storage. So using that, we don't have to. We will reduce some particular. We use that storage to target whenever we want to do some particular task. Let's say let's say in concept of Fibonacci series, right? In the Fibonacci series, we used to have whenever we want to in the Fibonacci, or so basically whenever we want to target some previous calculated value, right? At that time, we might have to do all the calculation again and again. So to reduce that time and process, we can directly target back to our whatever storage we use for that particular value, and we can get that value. So it reduces time, complexity, and also processing.
Okay. What storage do you use here?
So in this concept, like in the when last I tried this concept, so I used the map for this particular task.
Okay. Can you tell me difference between a cookies and local storage?
Right. So basically, local storage, the storage like which the browser will be having, like either the session storage or the this the local storage. So storage will be having for the website. So it is like and cookies are the things which we use to send with the HTTP response. So for the we want to call some particular for calling some API. So with that we have to send the cookies also. So there's a difference between for if let's say I want to store some key values, let's say some authentication or some some key values which I need for particular website for my in the front end case, right? So at that time I can use the storage, local storage, and I can store the key value pairs over there, right? But if I want something with the HTTP response to send to the backend for the I think in the authorization also we can use, or some data we want to send. So with that we can use the cookies and we can send with the HTTP response.
Same thing, I can send data from local storage to backend also, right?
Yeah, with the API call.
Then why cookies? Why cookies? So if I can achieve all the things in local storage, why cookies?
Right. So cookies. Basically, cookies have some small storage, and they can have some. I think not the user preference we store in the local storage. Okay, sorry, I'm not exactly able to frame this.
Okay, no problem. Okay. So have you done ever any DOM manipulation?
Yes.
So how can you do manipulate DOM?
Basically, using the JavaScript, we can manipulate the DOM. So DOM manipulation is basically, let's say, in the using JavaScript and the CSS, I think, yeah. So whenever I want to interact with any particular DOM element, right? So at that time we can use the JavaScript and we can change the properties, or we can change the state of that particular element. So that is like called as a DOM manipulation. So basically we have a
Okay. So do you know what is array destructing in JavaScript?
RS?
Array destructing.
Array destructing. Yeah, destruction of array. Yes, yes.
Destructing.
Yeah. I'll remove this earphones. Huh? Sorry for that. I'm just. Yeah. Yes. Array destruction means whenever we having a particular array, right? Or we want to destructure it. Basically, want to open up the array. So that is called array destruction. Destruction.
Okay. So what is you want to open?
Yes. What is
you want to open?
Means basically, let's say I have three arrays A, B, and C.
Okay.
And I want to combine these all three arrays into one array. Okay. So I can easily, using this JavaScript operator, I can easily destructure all the three arrays using 3 dot in front of the particular array, and I can combine it into the one array. So it's like the faster way.
So you are telling combining multiple arrays to a single array?
Right.
No,
we can use this.
Destructuring, mostly you can extract values from array and assign them to variables. In more convenient way. No, you are telling the other way.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, basically if we assign three variables A, B, and C, where A, B, and C is equals to, and then directly the array. So the value we can assign from there. So I was telling about the destructuring of the array. So basically want to open up. So that's, I think, two different concepts.
Okay. So, do you know what is debouncing in JavaScript?
Debouncing? No.
Okay. Do you know what is promise in JavaScript?
Yes. So basically promises are if you want to perform some asynchronous tasks, right? So we can use the promises over there. So basically promises have the two state. They reject or resolve. So whenever we want to resolve it, basically we have completed some particular task and we resolve it and we want to get some data. We can resolve it to that and we can send the data.
What is the states of promise you told? There are two states.
State is a state are the either pending and basically in process and the
there is nothing called in process.
No. Pending, reject and resolve. I think yeah, the three states.
Okay. Okay, so can you tell me?
Let's say,
yeah, tell me.
Yeah, let's say we executed a particular task and we use a promise for it, right? So this is a asynchronous task. So whenever we use the promise, so the task will it will not block the main thread, and the task will run in the in background. So means at that time it's a pending state. So basically, let's say I want to call an API, right? So I use the promises in that, and I send the request data using any particular API to the backend. So at that time it's pending state. Let's say I got back from the database that this is the data. So at that time we can use the resolve. So in the resolve we can send the data. We can basically send the data from that promise. So that promise will be completed and it will send back to the JavaScript in our code. It will in console or wherever we want to use that. We can use it, and they're like one another state that is reject. Let's say I got some error and I want to reject it, so I can set that state rejected.
Okay. Can we use async keyword without await?
Async without
await.
Yeah. Async function without await.
Async keyword without await keyword.
Yeah, yes, we can use.
Without await, we can use async?
Yeah, basically we can, for any function, we can make it as async. We can use async keyword in front of that particular function and we can use it. Means if we don't want to await for any particular point, we can will not be using await over there. So it will work.
Okay.
Hello.
So, do you know last time in the initial question I asked, how much data it could be stored in local storage? Similarly for station storage?
Okay. For the local storage session store, I think in the MB for particular domain we will be having some particular size, like this much size we can store. So it is in MB. I can't remember a particular number, but for the cookies it's I think 4 KB that I can remember.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell me like what are the different features of ES6 have used?
Yeah. ES6. So I think this reduce function which we can use, right? I think it's in not on the reduce that I think filter. So if we say in these ES6, there are few upgradation has been done, and like the new, I think one is promise all. I think the in promise.all, I think is this one, that function. So they're like new function has introduced, like new functionalities has been introduced in the JavaScript that we can use in the current ES6. Those who are not in the past, but I can't right now. I'm not able to recollect exactly the list of those functions.
Okay. So except reduce, you have not used that much.
Okay, reduce is there.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Let's have. Can you let's have some like CSS? I'll have some 1-2 questions on CSS. Can you tell me the role of meta viewport tag?
Meta viewport tag.
Do you know? Have you seen meta viewport
tag?
Yeah.
Metadata. That metadata I know. Meta viewport. Yeah, viewport also I seen. I remember it, but cannot recollect the explanation for that right now.
Okay. Okay, let's have some like Angular questions. Okay.
Right.
Can you tell me what is data binding in Angular?
Yeah. So data binding basically whenever you want to bind some data from a template to the component or TS file, right? So the JavaScript, wherever our Angular JavaScript code is, from there we want to communicate data from the HTML from that. So over there we can use the data binding. So they're like different kind of data binding we can use. The one-way or two-way data binding. The one-way basically either way we are sending where we are sending data from the TS file to the HTML or from HTML to TS file. The two-way data binding when we are changing a data value from one place, so it will reflect in the another place. So vice versa. Like interpolation is one-way data binding. There's like event data binding or the attribute data binding, the property data binding, NG model, the two-way data binding, these type of things.
Okay. Can you tell me what are lifecycle hooks in Angular?
Yeah. So basically, whenever a particular application, whenever a particular component that render, so at that time it will go through some specified in hierarchy, right? So first is the constructor being called, constructor function being called. It is not related to the Angular life cycle, but it is like related to the JavaScript. So whenever any component is rendered, at that time constructor will be called. So constructor is being used for the dependencies, dependency injection in Angular and that kind of thing. And then after that, there's like ng init. ng on it. Yeah, ng on init.
So first one is very fast method is
ng on init.
Before the okay.
Yeah. So sorry, I mistake, like I missed on.
Okay.
So first is ng on init. And there like we can do initialization of properties, and after that we'll be going through the ng on changes. Oh, sorry. First is ng on change.
Yeah, correct.
First is ng on change. I'm sorry. And then ng on init. So ng on change basically it will render every change detection cycle. But whenever the input properties are being changed for particular component, at that time it will render. And on the first way, whenever the component is rendered, it will render first. Then after the ng on it will render. So ng on it will render only once for whenever the component is being rendered before the destroy. If it is destroyed and we are rendering again, so again the ng on it will be called after the ng on changes. But let's say we change some input property in some input properties are being changed from the parent. So at that time, this ng on change again will render. And then they're like ng on change, ng on it, then ng do check. Do check is basically it will render for any of the, let's say I click on somewhere or something. Whenever we have done anything in a screen, so it try to detect every change. So that is ng do check, and then there's like ng after view content. I think after view init, and then after view do check. I think view checked, and then view init, and then view content. After the content, there's view init and view content checked, and then ng destroy.
And what about ng after view init?
After view init, yeah. ng, yeah. I said no. I think first is the ng content.
Okay.
So after the ng on init, right? ng on change, ng on init, then ng first is like the content. First the content part will come. So ng content init wala, and then ng content checked wala, and then ng view init, then ng view check. I might be confusing between the view and content one, but in this way, and then ng destroy.
Okay.
Yeah.
How can you create service in?
Pardon? What services?
How can you create service in Angular?
Yeah, basically we can generate service through the command prompt, directly ng generate service and particular service, and service are basically singleton in our Angular component, and it can be used either for the API call or let's say we want to some common action or common function we want to create in a particular place, which can be which should be singleton, so we can use it for that.
Okay. What are the different authentication mechanism you used in Angular?
So in Angular, use the auth token, the auth guard. Auth guard we use. So let's say we want to log in a particular application, and we want to have access to a particular component after the authentication is being done. So that can activate that we use in the auth guard. And then if it is true, at that time we can access a particular route.
Okay. So have you used JWT token?
JWT token, that is like in progress right now. So JSON, I think JSON, that JSON one, right? JSON authentication token.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, not yet. So it is like right now we are implementing it in our application.
Okay.
So I have to explore. Yeah.
Okay. What is template reference variable in Angular?
Template reference variable, let's say in our HTML file. In our HTML file, we can define any variable in that using template reference variable, and that can be used in that component.
Okay.
The child I think from child to parent also we can use it, but not sure exactly. I read way before. Have to go through again.
So you would be.
You want to refer in particular?
Yeah, got it. So you have used the arrow function, right?
Pardon?
You have used arrow function.
Yes.
What is the advantage of using arrow function? Why arrow function?
Mm-hmm. So basically, in this updated this JavaScript expression, the arrow function, we can simplify our code. Let's say I just only want to do a plus b. Only I want to return a plus b when we are passing a and b. So instead of going through our old way of creating function, then passing a plus b, we can simply in one line we can create it. So sum and using the arrow function to simplify the expression, simplify the function, and this is like the code standardization, those kind of things.
Only simplifying the function, nothing
So arrow function also can be used inside the object, even though we can use the normal function over here also. But that I can see, like the simplification or the standardization, code management, manageable code, those kind of things I can see. Okay. There might be more things, so I have to, yeah.
Do you know what is a bootstrap component?
So in our current application, we used bootstrap component in one place. So let's say drop down or something. So it is like so bootstrap basically they have created already some functionalities. Let's say this type of drop down or the UI or those kind of things, CSS, all these things they already have created. Basically, we are directly using that, or some bootstrap classes we are using. So that kind of thing we can do.
Okay. What is event binding in Angular?
So event binding, basically, yeah. Let's say I have a particular button or a particular let's say I have a button. So I want to click that button. So at that time, I'm interacting with our HTML page, right? So I'm interacting with our template. So we want to send that event to our TS file, to our JavaScript file. If I click that button, do this action. So at that time we can use event binding. So basically, it's a type of data binding where we are just sending data from the template to our TS file, that component file.
How can you use Angular pipes to transform data efficiently?
Yeah. So the pipes are being used for the transformation of data. Okay. So let's say in the UI, we are getting date or something from backend. Okay. So we don't want to hamper the data. We don't want to change the data. So at that time we can efficiently use pipe in our template directly using that pipe and date, whatever the format we want to. If we want to DDM, whatever the format we want to change. So we efficiently can use the date, that pipe over there, and in UI we can see in whatever format we want to see. That means, yeah, that data transformation in an efficient way.
What is web worker in Angular?
Pardon?
Web worker.
Web worker. I did not explore this part yet.
Okay. How can you handle memory leaks in Angular application?
So basically, memory leak, we can use the ng destroy function. Let's say at a particular time, if there's like we open some timeout or some time or something we started in our particular application, and whenever we are closing that particular component, so and the ng destroy, we can close those things. So or any particular asynchronous task which we don't want after that particular component is destroyed, so we can do it there in this way.
Okay. What are the have you used any tools?
Means
to detect this memory leak?
Not yet.
Okay. How can you minimize number of HTTP? Yeah.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. But I think ESLint can be used for our code. We used ESLint in the current project for a standardization of our code. But I'm not sure it can detect the memory leak or also. But this can be one tool.